Hello, Hazard from Massive Reviews here, back again after uh, a bit of a break. Obviously I was on holidays for 1 week, and I returned last week, and sort of just got back into my routine, and over the last bit of an illness that was plaguing me for a while, and which I think you noticed in, say, the Mario Kart World DLC predictions video, and a bit with Superman. Uh, but I'm back here. I'm well now, ready to go, and let's talk about the Fantastic Four first steps. Yes, we're jumping straight into it. And yeah, this going into it with the other Fantastic Four films which I have seen. It's fair to say they've all been very shaky. Like, the first movie back in 2005, I hear it's a very split movie. Like, some people don't mind it, some people think, some people think it's good, some people think it's bad. It's an uneven film. That's what I'm trying to say. It does have its charm, but not uh, but it's not good. Um, well, not perfect, I should say. And the sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, though, that was garbage. That was definitely not good. That was definitely not good. I shouldn't say garbage. With that one, it just was very underwhelming and very disappointing. Is what I'm trying to say. And I should say, rest in peace, Julian McMahon, who played Doctor Doom in the first two films. Yeah, he will be sorely missed. Um, this and then the 2015 reboot Fanta- uh, which people know as called Fan Four Stick. Yeah, that's garbage. That definitely was garbage. I don't know if we can fully blame Josh Trank for the failure of it, because it was heavily edited without his involvement by 20th Century Fox. But there is a lot wrong with that film, and can't really watch in the so bad's good mentality. I would argue maybe it's probably the closest thing you can sort of compare it to would be Batman v Superman. Um, but even then, I think Batman v Superman had a bit more had a few good things to like, despite its awful things in it. Fan Stick, nah, no. So yeah, we now get to this fourth attempt of bringing the first the Marvel's first family to the big screen. And well, fourth time's a charm. Yeah, it's strange. I mean, okay, the bar was low for the other films, so to see even something, even just good, is probably for the best for this. But yeah, they really nailed what they were going with this, and it seemed like they addressed a lot of the problems everyone's had with the other films. And yeah, it's surprisingly really thoughtful and really well done. I think give major credit to Matt Shakeman, who obviously was in charge, directed WandaVision beforehand, and has worked on other stuff like great. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Game of Thrones. He worked a bit on Agatha all along, I think. Um, yeah. But yeah, going to this, I mean, it's fair to say they still had trouble going into it. They're originally going to have John Watts directed after he finished No Way Home, but then he stepped back because he didn't want to do any more superhero movies or take a break from it, which I can understand. So they gave it to Shakeman. Um, there was confusion. We were unsure of who they're going to cast for the team, especially I mean, after John Krasinski made his cameo in Multiverse of Madness, people were saying, "Oh, he should play the main variant now," and what they were going to do with that. And then, Chris Evans returned as Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine. So, yeah, that was that. But then eventually did get the cast, and, you know, decent choices, I would say. And then again, we were also told this wouldn't be taking place in Earth 616 as the rest of the MCU. This is going to be set in its own alternate universe. So, it would help that I guess it is helping that they're not going to tie it in with any additional Easter eggs, much like how majority of Deadpool Wolverine were doing. Um, so yeah, there was a lot that they were showing us, they were giving us a lot of hope. But I guess we are still very concerned over how this will turn out because of, well, as I said, because of the critical failures of the other films and box office failures, and well, that is with Fantastic Four and the reception of what, well, the last, well, majority of Phase Four and especially Phase Five of the MCU. I mean, you look at how the MCU is tracked; they usually have a six, especially with Phase Five. They had it, well, majority of the time, I would say, pretty much after No Way Home. Well, actually, I would say maybe mostly after Multiverse of Madness, they seem to have a success and then a failure, success and failure, and it just would keep changing. And I think, especially with the films, actually, I will find, well, it hasn't been easy, and going after the success of Thunderbolts, whether or not we would get a successful movie here was debatable. I mean, okay, I guess if you're going by track record, the failure of Ironheart maybe is keeping the pattern going, I guess. But in terms of films, it's impressive to see that this is actually getting good reviews, and rightfully so. I mean, I appreciate that they're not going for the origin story of Fantastic Four, which we've seen, in two of the last three films. We all know what they're like. We do get a video montage of what happened, of them gaining their powers when shooting up in space. That so it is there, but it's not the main part of the film, which I appreciate. It's for the best, and they're going like the No Way, the Spider-Man movies. Yeah, I appreciate that. All the actors are great. All these people I've been a fan of for their previous work. I mean, Pedro Pascal is probably one of my favorite actors of the last decade. He has been really good. I mean, you already heard me sing his praises in Wild Robot, and I'm almost going to probably say the same here, so I won't go too over top. Vanessa Kirby also great as Sue Storm. She is fantastic. Julia Garner, really impressive as the Silver Surfer. To be honest, I don't know much about this variant version of the Silver Surfer, so I was a little bit going to this like maybe a bit blind as to what she was like. But Garner does a good job. I mean, and I mean, yes, the story arc she has is pretty predictable, but her acting does sell it. I gotta give full credit to that. Yeah, and everyone else is great too. Um, the pacing I thought was really well done. This with everything with the story, whether with them going to take on Galactus and everything, and obviously with how they're handling life. Well, Reed and Sue handling life, handling the fact that they're now parents, and what their child means to not just them but to the entire world, considering Galactus wants the kid wants their son for his own needs. Yeah, so that was pretty good. I like and speaking of Galactus, it's good to actually see him in this. I mean, okay, I already know. I mean, I don't want to. We all know how much they failed in Rise of the Silver Surfer with Galactus, just making him a cloud flame. But yeah, to actually see him here is great. I do think he's going to have more to. There'll be more of him in the future. I mean, Galactus is one of the most well-known villains in the Marvel comics. It's very unlikely that they'd have him just show up in this film. He's most likely going to be coming back maybe as the next big bad of whatever the next saga is after we get through Doomsday and Secret Wars. Um, Michael Giacchio score great. He does a good job. The '60s atmosphere is really well done. I love everything here. It looks, it looks great, and hearing the Fantastic Four theme is well done. Costumes look great. Everything's fine with them. don't need to say anything about that. The costumes look excellent to me. Considering how certain other costumes for heroes have fared for a fair few of the shows, it's good to see something that actually would look good here. Um, I think two more things I gotta give credit to. I'm glad in this film when I mean, obviously we know he's coming in next year, but I think one of the things that succeeded with this film is the fact that Doctor Doom doesn't play a central part in this. I think he's just um, it's good to have a film with a Fantastic Four film where he's not involved. So that's probably a good thing as to why this is succeeded the way it is. I mean, I don't know, but I think having Silver Surfer and Galactus being the main threats makes sense. So good that they went in that direction. And above all, I think the biggest thing, Johnny Storm. I was impressed with how well they handled him. He's not he's not like in the other films. He's not like in the comics. Even though he does sort of uh, reference it many times of how everyone thinks of him, and there is still elements of his womanizing side with him and the Silver Surfer, but that's where things get interesting. Is that he's actually a bit more private with how he does his business, much like the Thing is, and just the fact and showing how smart he is. Like he keeps alive. He decides to investigate the Silver Surfer's origins on his own, and actually gets a lot done for it. And I actually kind of like that they do it with him, and I find it very fascinating. And I was really impressed with what they did with Johnny Storm. I mean, he's always been one of the probably the weakest of all of the members of the Fantastic Four for me, but to see him actually do something and and you know well and it ends up benefiting a lot is really effective, and I think they handled him well. He's probably the best character in this film out of the whole entire team. Um, if I do have any nitpicks, I will state some. In terms of seeing the powers of the Fantastic Four, everyone gets a lot of their moments. But I don't think Mr. Fantastic uses his powers enough. Like, I don't see him stretch his limbs. I think I've only really can think of three times I see him stretch his limbs, one being the climax. Um, I just, I want to see more of their powers everyone's powers in action as well, in equal amounts. But, Johnny Storm gets to use his flame powers a lot. Sue Storm gets to use her powers a lot. Thing, obviously, you know, but Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards doesn't. So yeah, I want to see more of it, and hopefully we'll get some more scenes in Doomsday. And the only other, and while I like all the characters in this, I think the one that I'm wish could have we had more of is Mole Man. Um, I kind of wanted more of him. And I know the story probably needs to get rewritten a bit more or expanded, just to get more out of him. But their original enemy. He's their former enemy turned an ally, well, mainly to Sue. So, and I don't know, he helps out a little bit with protecting everyone from Galactus when he arrives on Earth. But, well, the civilians, I should say. But I wanted more of him, and that's probably the one thing I wish they could have done more of. But well, those are really bad nitpicks. Honestly, I agree with everyone. First Steps is a great Fantastic Four film. They got it right. And yeah, it's fantastic. It's great to see that we can finally see this team get the love they deserve, or get the movie they deserve for such a long time because they have. It's been a struggle, and well, we finally got it. Four's a lucky number. I guess it was an omen. This is easy an 8.9 out of 10 has stars, not giving it a 9. But it's a really strong film, and I think, well, let's hope that going to phase 6, this is where Marvel finally gets back on track. I mean, I mean, even if you look back on it, Phase One and Phase Two of the Infinity Saga, if the MCU as part of the Infinity Saga had both, um, were very split. Like they had their good films and they had their bad films. I mean, I know they didn't have Disney Plus shows, so can't really fully compare. But I'm just saying, this is they had good and bad. While going to Phase Three, when they finished everything off of that saga, it was pretty much all a perfect, almost a perfect run, bar one maybe misstep. Um, but yeah, this can they get it right now and just power through? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. And besides, we've still got a lot of we got the side projects for the shows coming up. Eyes of Wakanda's I think next month. I think Marvel Zombies, which I am interested is in October. Wonder Man, I think at the end of the year. Yeah. But in terms of films, we're not getting any more till Spider-Man Brand New Day, which will actually be out in probably about a year now from now. So yeah. But anyway, in terms of what's next for my review channel, well, got a couple of things in mind. One will be Happy Gilmore 2. I will review that. The other is I'm going to keep it a little bit secretive for now. It's going to be a big project. Actually, I got two big projects probably lined up. Maybe a third with Donkey Kong Bonanza. Yeah. But in the meantime, House of Mouse Reviews is out, and I shall see you for my next review. Ciao.